What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with the most recent physique update from Sergio Oliver Jr. So he's in prep for this year's Italy Pro Show, which is scheduled in September, about 1 month before the Olympia this year. So that makes it one of the last Olympia qualifiers. So that is why a perfectly timed show for Sergio Oliver Jr. to have a go at his Olympia qualification for this year. Which, by the way, if he gets it, that is gonna be only his second Olympia qualification. Now, I do think he can do that if he can add more thickness and more density and some size in his back, and also correct the imbalance between his left and right lat that was very apparent at the one and the only show that he did this year, which was FIBA Germany, where he placed third behind Sazan Hirati and Andrew Jack, and that was actually a very good showing by Sergio. Now he's a guy with a very large frame, and from the front, he's evenly filled out top to bottom, so he is supposed to look impressive in those front shots, like the front double biceps, the front lat spread, the abs and thigh shot. And he looks pretty damn impressive in the most recent updates too. And for approximately 9 weeks out from his next show, he looks to be spot on in terms of his target. Him and his coach Stefan, they actually brought a decent package at his comeback show in Germany, especially Sergio's look during the finals of that show. That was extremely impressive, and from the front, that was undoubtedly the best Sergio ever looked. And one of the major reasons for that was his quads, which were looking awesome, the best they have ever looked throughout his career. And that is something that is kind of hard to digest, considering his age. Now one thing that he can fix in his front shots, that is more thickness and more density in the chest area, because that kind of flattens out. And Sergio himself said that in one of the interviews before FIBA Germany, that the chest is that one area where he needs to work on in his front shots. Now if Sergio is able to get his Olympia qualification, that is gonna happen after 7 long years, because the last time Sergio was on the Olympia stage, and the only time he was there, that was back in 2018. And I do not believe Sergio is looking anything apart from winning this upcoming Italy Pro Show. Now we can talk about his Olympia expectations after he gets his Olympia qualification. Right now he needs to win that show. And I'm gonna be blunt here and say that it's gonna come down to what kind of competition we see at this upcoming Italy Pro, which one of those top IFBB pros they decide to enter that show. Next up, we have a 14 weeks out physique update from one of the most muscular guy in the entire classic physique division right now, and that is also the reigning Arnold champion and the favorite to win this year's Olympia title, Mike Sommerfeld. Now we have seen it that Mike is looking in a league of his own at the moment, especially after his transformation from 2023 to last year, and the way he's progressing. Even now, I think Mike has got to be the most heavily muscle guy in the entire classic physique division, and that is why people often comment that he belongs in a bigger category or in another category rather than in classic physique. But if you guys ask me, I do not believe that the criticism is fair on him. He not only has a huge amount of muscle mass, but at the same time, he has one of the best X-frame, one of the most amazing V-taper, and one of the most aesthetic guy in classic physique division. And honestly, every time he posts a physique update, he makes it very clear that everyone in that classic physique division, they are chasing him, no matter who you are. Ramondino or Sklashensky, even Terence Ruffin, because he is the obvious favorite to win this year's Olympia title. Now it is so crazy to see Mike Sommerfeld in this kind of condition with another 14 weeks to go. And for the record, he only competed at the Arnold, which was scheduled months back. And it's quite clear that Mike's physique that has been responding very well after he took some time off, after the detox, after the reset. His body has been progressing extremely well, and that is why I do believe that if Mike looks anything close to his Olympia version from last year, and he's gonna be bringing more density and more detail, it's gonna take a physique of a lifetime to beat him at this year's Olympia in October. But let me know what you guys think. Who can be the biggest threat to Mike Sommerfeld? Next up, we have an update from Justin Shshire, now 4 weeks out of his comeback show, which is gonna be happening at this upcoming Tampa Pro. And there is gonna be lots of anticipation on how he looks since he's making his return to the stage after almost 18 months since the last time we saw him on the stage. That was back in 2023. Now, he had a great rookie year. He won his pro debut at Chicago Pro. But in my opinion, he kind of set up very high expectations for himself for his Olympia debut that year. And it was a great call by him and his coach to take the whole year off and try to improve his lagging body parts, especially his back, as much as he possibly can. Because from the front, that man is near perfect. He has got those ideal proportions, crazy X-frame, the deep separation in his quads, very small waistline, amazing vacuum, overall a great X-frame, which just immediately catches your eyes when he's up on that stage. Now, based on this update, I do think that he has been training his abs very well throughout the year, because if we look back at how his abs looked at his pro debut in Chicago Pro, he had a tiny waistline, but the abs, they needed a lot of work. Now, out of all the guys who have announced that they are gonna be doing this year's Tampa Pro show, him and Patrick Moore, they are the two guys who have been on the Olympia stage, unless John Jewett and John De Rosa, they also decide to do this show. So Justin is not only aiming to bring more size in about 4 weeks time, but his conditioning, especially from the back, that wasn't the best back in Chicago Pro or at the Olympia either. Now, if he shows up with a relatively improved back, but with a much better conditioning, he's gonna be one of the most dangerous guy at this upcoming Tampa Pro show. Next up, we have an update from Horsemdi aka Marcelo, who is about to make his Classic Physique Pro debut this weekend, and that is gonna be happening in Portugal Pro. And not only was he able to make the weight cutoff, but he actually did that quite comfortably, with roughly 5 pounds to spare, and he did not reveal where he was measured in terms of his height, because the next cap, in terms of his weight limit, that would be more than 10 pounds. So I genuinely think he came off all the drugs, all the PEDs, because if you guys remember, the last time he attempted to enter into a Classic Physique show, there was a whole lot of controversy around the time of the weigh-ins at that show, and Horsemdi failed to make the weight cutoff. Now, I for one am really looking forward to see how this new physique looks on Horsemdi in a smaller division with him downsized, because last year when he competed in the Men's Open, he was 260 plus pounds. So that is more than 40 pounds of difference, and that for sure is gonna reflect on his physique at this upcoming Portugal Pro. Now, will there be enough time for him to properly carb up, fill out, and get some of that fullness back? Well, the thing is, we really cannot say, we do not know, because Horsemdi is now in uncharted territory. So his switch from the Men's Open into Classic, that was like a very big shocker for all of us, because he kept it really quiet all throughout this year. Now Horsemdi has been able to make himself look very classic on the Instagram. So let's see how he compares with someone like Fabian Meyer, a guy who is worthy of making the Olympia first call out this year. So now that Horsemdi has been able to make the weight cutoff with some room to spare, we really want to know how he will look like when he is all maxed out for Classic Physique. So a very dangerous looking Nick Walker checks in at 14 weeks out from this year's Mr. Olympia, more than 15 pounds up compared to what he weighed at the Pittsburgh Pro stage, and still holding on to such an awesome kind of condition. Now, Nick Walker has mastered the art of staying very lean, especially in that post-show phase, although he stays pretty damn lean throughout the year. And the thing is, he can grow, putting on more muscle while gaining the least amount of body fat, the kind of body fat that he's holding on to right now. Now, this is something that is gonna make his physique very sensitive to carbs and overall nutrition. Now, he said he wants to be about 4 to 5 pounds heavier for this year's Olympia. And if he can control his waistline at that kind of weight, I'm gonna say why not? So Nick was able to beat Derek Lunsford in the abs and thigh shot. Just let that sink in for a moment, and I believe he's gonna show up more composed at this year's Olympia stage. And the mistake that he committed for the Pittsburgh Pro, where he kind of let his midsection go, especially in that last comparison, that also became one of the major reasons why he lost that show. So Nick isn't making that same mistake twice. So can Nick Walker win the Olympia and beat the likes of Derek, Hardy and Samson? Well, I'm gonna say yes, if the stars are aligned perfectly for him. And all of these genetically superior guys, they miss their mark and coming off. And yes, that is a possibility. Now Nick can definitely win the Olympia, but not in case everybody shows up 100% or close to 100%. Now it's pretty simple. Which physiques the judges are inclined towards after the Pittsburgh Pro. And off Derek Lunsford, he was able to beat the Mutant. And that is all I have to say at this point. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.